Mason from Fullerton, California wants to know, Heather, if you ever got an apology from Jen for screaming at you at the 20s party when you were only trying to help her drunk ass get home. That's from Mason.
I haven't had an apology or any conversation.
I'm sorry, Heather. Thanks for getting me in the car with Coach.
I mean, Jen.
What?
Well, I mean, was that heartfelt?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I mean, Jen. What do you think?
I'm asking, what do you think?
What do I think?
Do you think it was genuine?
I think it was a fucking reaction.
Yeah, of course.
That's all it was. It was just a straight up reaction. I haven't got an apology for. Heather, I'm sorry that you helped me get in the car with Coach and I yelled at you. No. But hey, what's going on?
Hi guys.
It's Mike and Mare, and we're just hanging out here, covered in snow still.
Yeah, God, so much snow. We may as well be in Salt Lake City.
Yeah, seriously. But yeah, the show is I Don't Want to Watch That. The website is don'twantowatchthat.com, and Twitter and Instagram are at Don't Want to Watch.
No, yeah. Don't want to watch.
Don't want to watch. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, they're all that. Yeah, Reunion, Salt Lake City.
Yeah, a lot to cover. There's a lot.
It was fucking rapid fire, too.
Yeah.
Like, it was almost like the end scene of Scarface for an hour. It was
and there's
constantly
2 more episodes. There's 2 more parts to this reunion. So
and Mary was like Mary was like the sneaky guy who came in and snuck up behind Scarface from the back and killed him. Like, she wasn't in anything, and then all of a sudden she just fucking
had a lot to say. Bop, 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 bop.
Yeah, she was coming in hot and heavy with the comments, like just changing the subject to her all the time.
Yeah.
And then she was on Watch What Happens Live right after. Oh. That's what you get.
There you go.
That's what you get. You get on Watch What Happens Live, or you fucking snake all the attention. That's fucking wild, though. I still can't believe how much she shoehorned herself into it.
Yeah, well, let's get into it.
Yeah, sorry. And it's kind of weird to track a reunion, because there's not scenes.
Well, let's just get into, like, the major beef. Like, we could graze over, the beginning of the episode, all the girls gather and get ready in New York City. Andy, of course, is visiting all the women in their dressing room and stirring the pot.
Yep.
Stirring the pot, priming the women up. Jump to the actual reunion, and there's a recap of the season and the highlights. We see
or
Whitney,
lowlights.
We see Whitney and Lisa's beef. We see Lisa and Heather's beef. And then my next note was apparently there is a strong swinger community. Whitney says, and they call it like Mormon 2.0.
Yeah.
And Lisa
loses her shit.
Yeah.
But first of all, like all these beefs, right, that we're gonna get into, like, and this is what I guess I have a hard time grasping with this shit, because in real life, if you have a beef with somebody and you discuss that beef is behind you, and you let it go. You don't meet up in 6 months and fucking rehash it.
Well, I think...
Which is kind of weird, and it seems like a lot of them really do not like each other. Well, like, genuinely don't like each other.
You have to think, too, so when they're filming the season, it's happening in real time, right?
Yeah.
It's, quote-unquote, real life.
Yeah.
Then the season gets edited. All the footage gets edited, right? And then you're watching the season with everybody else.
Yeah, that's true.
So it triggers, I definitely triggers things for these women, right? Then you have the added layer of fans and their opinions.
Oh, absolutely.
On how they view these women.
And at one point, Lisa was like, yo, all these ladies were sending me shitty things. And then Heather was like, yeah, because you were shitty. Like,
I know.
And, like, that's...
But I don't think everybody hates Lisa.
I think the majority of people don't. I think she's the villain for sure.
Whatever.
No, but you're being Lisa right now.
What?
You're Lisa-ing right now. You rolled your eyes and completely dismissed me. And
because I don't think that everybody. I don't think that everybody hated her.
You don't get to police how I feel.
Sorry, I need to add more drops. I need to get back on that. But I've been traveling for work. I'm sorry.
But before we get into the Lisa beef, let's talk about Jen.
Yeah, we can run through it in order for sure.
Jen with Meredith and Meredith's kids with Brooks.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I can't believe we still have to hear about him.
I know. I mean, was Jen picking on Brooks? Probably.
Yeah, a little bit.
He's 21 years old.
Yes.
He's not a baby.
But I think we can all agree Brooks did not deserve any sort of fucking fashion show with one fucking tracksuit look. And so Jen and Meredith even agreed with that kinda. But, that's all Jen's point was.
Yeah.
And that slot could have been somebody else.
Right.
That
I
has
agree.
been fucking pining for this and has 19 fucking looks that could have walked down that runway. I can't believe I'm having this conversation.
Well.
But instead we saw fucking 19 tracksuits.
Yep.
And still everybody's like, oh, can I get a tracksuit?
19 of the same tracksuits.
Yes,
right?
exactly. Like, he just thinks his name sounds good. That's it. Yeah. He doesn't have fashion vision. Sorry if I'm picking on a 21-year-old or however old he is.
But that's the thing. Like, he's 21 years old. He's not a baby. He's a young adult. He's a grown-ass man.
I understand. He needs to be able to fucking take that
And
kind of criticism.
He had a lot to say all fucking season.
Yeah, I completely agree. He threw himself in the middle of all this, and
gotta be able to
he
take
fucking
it.
only has a tracksuit. He had no business being there. Jen called it exactly like it was.
Yeah.
I like Meredith. I'm cool with Meredith, but she's wrong on this. Jen is right. Jen gets a point.
Yep.
We're scoring it after the fact because...
we need to discuss.
Yeah, because it was just too rapid fire.
Yeah.
Like, while you're watching a regular episode, there's just a couple things that happen here and there. But, it was just too much, too soon.
Yeah, I agree.
So, yeah, Jen +1. And after that...
we talked about the party that...
oh, what about some of the social media stuff, though? Like, because they... like, did Jen said a couple things about social media that were kind of...
yeah, she said that he was he had white privilege. Which I don't necessarily
fair
disagree with.
Fair. Okay.
Quite frankly.
Yeah,
like,
Jen did deny saying anything like that, though. But
she denied it, but...
I think it was like it was a response to one of those Twitter
Reality
accounts
Girl,
we
yeah,
follow.
that I love. Shout out Reality Girl.
Yeah. But anyway, all right. No, that was the last thing I wanted to touch on, though. They did touch on the vagina stuff, but I guess that's gonna come about later.
Yeah.
Then we go to, I didn't know that Meredith's birthday party at Jen's house, that was really a party for Jen, happened to be thrown on Lisa's birthday.
I forgot about that too, actually.
I don't think, did we ever even know that though, for real? We knew it was Lisa's birthday?
Yeah.
Because when they were showing all the scenes of Lisa saying it's my birthday, there was like a big caption on the bottom that says like, not in, extra footage. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I don't know if we actually ever knew that it was Lisa's birthday.
I don't remember. No,
I'm not sure either, to be completely honest.
Yeah, I vaguely remember Lisa saying that one of the reasons why her and Meredith are so close, they're like sisters. They look alike. They have the same birthday. They're both.
From tougher cities than Salt Lake. They're both not from
we'll talk about
they're
that.
not originally from soft Mormontown.
God, we'll get into that because I have a lot of things of how Lisa's perceived and I don't know.
Yeah, but this is where we see Heather and Lisa start fucking getting into it.
Right.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And again... it's really weird because it started the season like they were going to have this wild beef, and we were like, cool. Mm-hmm. Then, 2 or 3 episodes in, I remember them going to lunch together. Yeah. And then me and you were both like, when the fuck did they become cool?
Yeah.
And then nothing ever happened with it again, and now they're going to kill each other.
Yep.
And Heather is fucking vicious in this.
Okay. Here's my thing.
Okay.
I think that Lisa is who she is, right? She's very overly confident, which people can kind of see as being unapproachable, right?
Yeah.
You made a good point that you feel like, say what you said about what you think. I mean, that was later in the episode, but I think we could talk about it now.
Well, I mean, that was when we were, you mean how Lisa's Bethany, pretty much? Yeah, no, but that was when they were talking about Lisa's family, and later on. So she's basically like Bethany. She's Bethany with like a family. But either way, like they both are just very abrasive people. They're both very driven, and they're just gonna. The Mormon people just don't know how to fucking take it. I think
that's
like the soft ass Utahns or whatever. They just don't know how to take it.
She's very New York. She's very New York. And like for Heather to say, you know, you lived in Salt Lake City or Utah for 20 years.
Yeah.
Her mother still lives there. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're from New York, if you grew up in New York. You are New York.
Yeah, you're just abrasive. Like it's just understandable.
It's something that you have to learn. It's like a part of who you are. You gotta take fucking public transportation every day. That changes a person.
You're fighting people for spots on the subway. Like it's ridiculous.
You're on
buses,
top of
whatever.
one another.
You're always on each other. Like it's
right.
So you're always elbowing for space.
Exactly.
And so that's what New York is about. It's elbowing for space. Trying to get on the next train.
You don't have time for bullshit. You get right to the point. You say what you mean. You say what you feel. You fucking talk it through and you move on. Yeah. And that's what I like about Lisa. She's very driven, but we also see a vulnerable side to her as a mother. And I've said this numerous times about her. Yeah. But anyway,
and she does have her flaws. Let's not
absolutely.
So she
she's absolutely
wrong in many, many scenarios.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that she's fucking perfect like she thinks she is.
Yeah, and even before we get even any further, can we talk about who the cliques are, just so we know who's on whose team in this?
Sure.
Like, just because I had an idea of what the teams were going to be coming into it.
What was your idea?
I thought it was going to be almost like Heather, Whitney, and Mare versus Lisa, Meredith, and Jen. Okay. That's who I thought it was going to be.
But it was not.
It's Heather and Whitney fucking back-to-back shooting outside of a circle, pretty much. Jen and Lisa, and then Meredith, and somehow Mare are like the adults in the room. Yeah. Like that, and it's that's.
Well, you mean just for the reunion?
Yes. You know what I mean? No, exactly. Yeah. So I'm just curious what happened, like in between, like that. Like I know at the end that's kind of almost.
I think they just watched the footage.
Yeah, and then came to their own. Okay.
I think that's all it boils down to, quite frankly.
Okay.
I mean, listen, Jen, this whole reunion episode really keeps her fucking cool.
She does.
She really, really, truly does.
She seems to be, hopefully, I think seems like she's working on
working
herself.
through her shit.
And that's why, you know, with the opening clip, even though how funny it was with Andy's reaction, because he probably hasn't talked to her too much, you know, between the show and now. You know, maybe she's come to a better place and stuff, and maybe that apology was genuine, and she's just like, or maybe it was just part of her being a psychopath, and just like, I have to chill, but I don't give a fuck about you. I'm still brimming on the inside. Who knows, one way or the other.
Yeah. But back to Meredith.
Kind of the timeline, yeah.
Meredith slash Jen's birthday party. So they talk about the scene where Lisa says that Heather was being dismissive over the greeting, over Lisa's and Heather's greeting. Like, Lisa walks in, she says hello, Heather gives her, the once-over. It was just, and like, watching the clip, I think it was just awkward for the both of them.
Yeah, I didn't see really anything. Yeah. It was almost like Heather was trying to get around whoever was in between them at first. And then when they got there, it was almost like neither of them wanted to initiate a hug kind of thing. Yeah. Or like nobody wanted to start it. And then they both kind of turned away real quick. Yep. Like it was just... And can we talk about roll footage for a second? Yeah, because was that footage... Did like Lisa ask to have that set up? Or
they probably dropped that footage in later on.
Or do you think like she yelled that as if they expected to have it, or like I'm just curious, like if she asked them, you think, or
Who knows?
All
But
right,
they
I don't
probably, I mean, they have the footage, so obviously they can drop it in.
I mean, because Whitney brought some paperwork with her, so I'm not sure. She was like, "Hey, can you guys have this ready because I know it's gonna come up." Like, I'm just curious.
I mean, that's a production question. I'm not sure, but
Is Lisa the type of person? Is kind of more what I'm getting at. Where she would be like, I know that this is gonna come up, or like, is she planning?
yeah,
like,
probably.
Almost, all right, no.
Yo, the footage is there.
Okay.
I mean, they just watched the season, so
Yeah.
So then they kind of flesh out a little bit more the whole, whether Heather and Lisa have known each other for 20 years and been in the same social circles. Heather really stands by that. Lisa says no. They met in 2017. I think it's probably a combination of both. Again, I think it's a combination of both. I think Lisa is a social climber, that Heather was probably most definitely in her orbit.
Yeah.
And Lisa may not have fucking
Even
seen
acknowledged.
it.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, and that's pretty much what I think it is,
Yeah.
too. I think it's one of those, almost, because Heather was probably in, the medium circle, and Lisa being
but wait. Was Heather in the almost medium circle? If her husband's making bank and has a shit ton of money?
Were they together in college, though?
That's what Heather says.
Yeah,
oh,
okay.
You're saying, so, from...
This stems from back in college. Because it goes back to the Good Time Girl comments and shit like that.
Yeah.
And, Lisa's like, yeah, I kind of knew who you were or whatever. And I think it goes back to, just being in the same room, but Lisa was with her friends and Heather was kind of almost like a Venn diagram, kind of intertwined, but not really. Yeah. But Lisa not even giving her the time of day. I think that's what it all. It's all self-conscious fucking.
Yeah, I was gonna say
boiling
Heather,
over 20 years and millions of dollars later and fucking Bravo TV contracts later. You know how crazy is that?
Heather is obviously. I mean, yeah, that is. Heather is obviously a very insecure person.
Yes,
so
exactly.
I can see both. I can understand both women's sides. I think Heather really plays into her insecurity. And Lisa, I just think she genuinely fucking loves herself.
Yes.
And doesn't see outside of that. And I think, I think when she says, I try to engage and try to be friends with you, you're telling me I'm not being a good friend and I'm not there for you, and I tried calling you and setting up meetings. Look, they fucking went to lunch.
Yeah.
There was footage of that. It really does feel like Heather doesn't want to be friends with Lisa.
I think that's what it is too. I think Heather almost wants a villain. She wants a bad guy.
Yep.
And that's interesting because it's kind of painting Heather in a worse light for me.
Listen,
I'm just saying,
I
like Heather a lot. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
still,
me too.
Her story is great and powerful and whatnot, but
maybe
dude, you might be the one who needs some therapy.
Well, I think she certainly does. I think she certainly does, for sure.
I think they all could probably use
it.
And
they do the reunion before the season ends, so they play out the whole season.
Okay.
So, maybe.
What do you mean they do the reunion before the season ends?
So they film the reunion a couple of weeks before the full season actually airs.
Oh.
Yeah.
So they don't know public perception on some of the end stuff, I guess. Yeah. But they all have seen it and know what the deal is. Yeah, okay.
But anyway. Yeah, and then the whole thing with, the Good Time Girl shit. It was Lisa says, it was just a little antidote that her mutual friend gave, and it wasn't meant to be malicious. And she said that, said that Heather was a good time and not a good time girl.
That seems like bullshit, because then she's because there is
what you said, Lisa. Come on.
Because if she did in fact say she was a good time, that meant she hung out with her, and she would have said she's known her for that long instead of only for the past couple of years.
No, she said that her friend said that.
Oh.
She didn't directly say
that. I was trying
No, okay. She said that her, that a mutual, I guess, college friend said that. Anyway, My only critique, quite frankly, is that Lisa was wearing too much tanner. She had it all over her fucking hands, and I was so distracted by it.
And while she was talking with her hands.
Her whole, like, you know, your palms are supposed to be white.
Yeah.
Her hands were fucking so dark and brown, but whatever. Then we cut to, like, then Whitney
Who do you think
jumps
won that
in.
exchange between Heather and Lisa?
I mean, Lisa obviously did not come to play, so I want to say Lisa, but I don't really think anybody really won.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was just kind of like button heads, like a couple of rams on the fucking side of a mountain.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because then Lisa jumps in and she says that Lisa thinks she's better than her, which is like...
Or Whitney jumps in and says that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Whitney jumps in, thinks that, Whitney thinks that Lisa thinks that she's better than her.
Whitney does come off as the child in the room, though. Even, I think, just the inflection of her voice sometimes.
Yeah, I mean...
I mean, she's adorable and all, don't get me
cute.
wrong. She's got a good story and whatnot, but... Like,
come on, you gotta play with the big dogs, babe.
Yeah. I don't know if she's got it in her to...
Copies of text messages.
Yeah, you
can't even get that right, babe.
Jesus Christ, yeah. If this was like a
Come
fucking
on.
Senate hearing, like you gotta
Yeah,
come up
girl.
with like the pictures of the tweet, like
Come
Bernie
on, you gotta-
Sanders has on like a billboard and
Yes,
shit.
bitch, you gotta bring that binder like Monique did.
Yeah,
like,
you can't.
come
You gotta have
on.
color coded shit.
Bring
like,
your
you
receipts.
Cannot, oh
Bring
my
your
god!
receipts.
You like pulled it out and like unfolded them, like you printed them out at the Holiday Inn this morning. Like, get out of here! Like, what is this? I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night. I'm ready for my fucking reunion.
Oh my god, I paid my $2 for my internet time.
Yeah, I went to a Kinko's and dropped a bunch of quarters in the copy machine.
Say, I had some nickels and dimes left over too.
Then I faxed
to
my
make
husband
sure.
a picture of my bazoombas.
Oh, those were big bazoombas.
He's out there. But the one point I did throw out there in the episode was when they were talking about the dancing stuff.
Yeah.
And, Lisa was giving Whitney a hard time about dancing in front of Coach at the party. And then Heather was just like, from the top ropes, was just like, yeah, I see you doing splits in front of him.
Yeah. Lisa was like, who'd you do your splits in front of? That's right. Yeah, I thought that was really funny,
Oh, there
too.
you go. And then Jen, like, cowered into, like, a little turtle shell right there. That was pretty interesting. But, yeah, then we do start talking about Coach and Jen.
Yeah.
And, it gets pretty serious. Like,
it gets intense, yeah. I mean, again, this is... Jen Shaw, to me... she was kind of a roller coaster this whole season for me, but I did end up really liking her because you can relate with somebody's grief, right?
Yep.
Grief is, you can't really measure the amount of time that you grieve somebody. If she was very close with her father, then, I can relate to something like that. Like, if somebody dies, your father dies suddenly, that's a hard pill to swallow.
Yes.
And you fucking need your husband there. I mean, if she said, this is the life that I signed up for, we're marrying Coach Shaw. But he wasn't there for the funeral. Fuck. Oh my God. I can't imagine if you weren't there for my father's
Imagine
funeral.
I was like, I got a fantasy football draft.
I divorced you. We would be divorced. We would not even be married. We really wouldn't.
It's the big league. It's like $200 entry. Like, I gotta be there
And
for
you
this.
wouldn't be.
It's the night of the wake.
Can
I please?
What if I just brought the TV?
Like, I'm gonna go to the other day of the wake, but I'll just miss the one day of the wake. Is that okay for the fantasy football draft?
No,
and I'll be drunk, covered in wing sauce, like when you get home.
You did want TVs for a fucking wedding for the men.
Yo, that's not a. First of all, that's not a wake. All right, people at the fucking wedding brought cardboard cutouts of Met players.
I know.
And it was the World Series that they hadn't been in for like 30 years or like 15 years.
You only get married once, babes.
Yeah, and
anyway,
given the Mets, they might not be in the World Series again.
Okay, well, let's continue to let's hash this out. So, yeah, so they talked about just like Jen's behavior this season, and we see that her dad died in 2018. They probably filmed this in 2019, so it was still pretty recent and raw. And if that's something, like her husband missing the funeral really affected her, really affected their relationship.
Yeah, and
that's understandable.
And we learned that, in the off season that fucking Heather and Mary's fathers both passed away too.
In April.
Mm-hmm. I honestly, for a second, thought Mare was lying.
Me too. I'm not gonna front. When people are like, "Oh wow," just because she wanted to say something.
Yes, exactly. Just because she.
Yeah.
I was like, my dad died in April, and Mary's like, yeah, me too. Like, what? Exactly that. Like, that's.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry.
But they talk about. Then they go into, I guess what Jen really does, which is advertising and internet marketing. Shock.
Yeah, I mean, I
don't know what.
We didn't know for a long time, and then all of a sudden she was roller skating around her office with stew chains.
So she makes money, so she does really well for herself.
Yeah, no, good.
And then they talk about Jen throwing her tantrums. Just says just going through a lot. And then Mary immediately interjects herself.
Yep, this is the first time she jumps in though.
A trigger for Jen. And then Lisa comes to her defense and says, LOL, no.
Yeah. And
you are not.
Like, why is Lisa coming to Jen's...
Because I think that Lisa genuinely wants to be Jen's friend.
No, I agree, but,
I think Jen she really feels like Jen is misunderstood.
No, I hear you, but I'm saying, why can't Jen fight her battles against Mary herself? Like, Jen and Mary beef is almost a cornerstone of the show.
Maybe she's trying to compose herself. I'm telling you, I think
maybe Jen. That's true. Maybe Jen was saying yo, I need to be chill here, so maybe you feel some of these for me, my guy.
I don't know.
And that's actually a pretty interesting strategy.
Then we get to the apology for the drunken outburst at the 20s party to Heather. I just dropped my pen. Dang it. That was my
What happened?
pen. I just dropped my pen behind the couch. I'll get it later. I'm sorry.
Ridiculous.
I'm sorry for interrupting.
No, what did you say?
Because I love that pen.
I'll get you the pen after the show. This is Pen Talk with Mike and Mare. This is the Pen 15 Club.
Hey.
It's penis. Well, I don't even know where we were at.
I was talking about that Jen never apologized to Heather for her drunken outburst at the 20s party. And then she gives one, and Andy asks if it's hurtful. That was, our audio.
A little opening here.
Top of the episode, so we can kind of jump from that.
So I'm still curious about Jen. I still don't get her. I still think there's a little part of me that thinks she's still just a psychopath. Almost like a complete emotionless crazy person saying whatever she has to say to get by.
Okay.
Okay.
I can see that.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
She does. I mean, after this though, she does explain it a little bit further, and it does get to seem a little bit more genuine, but still, it's a little bit.
Okay.
A little bit, and then Mary chimes in.
She is good for TV. I mean, yeah. Well, let's get into the weird because they jump back between, this fucking vagina leg kick. Oh my god.
Yeah. I don't care about this.
Neither do I, but I think it's important to talk about because both women, Meredith denies shit and Jen denies shit, and quite honestly, I kind of believe Jen.
I kind of believe Jen too.
Because Meredith is a sneaky sneaker.
Well, I also think Meredith was hammered that night.
Yes.
You remember she was making the margaritas without the top on and stuff.
I think she was high too. I think Meredith is high all the time.
I was gonna say, hey, smoking what?
Yeah, that was my reaction too. That was my reaction.
And maybe Brooks was upset that he wasn't letting her hit it, but but no, I could actually. If it was cigarettes and that's what Brooks and the sister were mad at, then I could totally relate because I used to flush my parents' cigarettes down the toilet before I started smoking myself.
But Jen, Jen honestly didn't know that the kids saw her vagina when she was doing that stupid leg kick.
And I still
didn't think it was a problem.
I still think that they were at an awkward angle to see the vagina, if I remember correctly.
I agree.
Like,
she was wearing under whatever. I don't know. It was
it's
just
almost like
a
the Zapruder films with like JFK and the head going
Maybe
back.
Maybe it's because we grew up in Roxbury and we're just so unfazed by drunken behavior. Maybe that's why we're like, whatever.
Well, Meredith seems to have cocktails every once in a while, so I mean, Brooks and them should know what it looks like.
Yeah, Meredith gives me like that, like she suppresses a lot of shit. She suppresses a lot and uses drugs and alcohol to
excuse it when it comes out.
Yeah, man.
Or further suppress it. You think so? Wow. Look at you, psychiatrist from afar.
I do, because she always looks high to me or like a little tipsy or drunk, but she hides it very well.
But maybe that's just her face, because Brooks has that same face. And all he does is eat grapefruits.
No,
he won't have alcohol.
I'm telling you.
I don't know. It might be just her face and her demeanor and stuff.
Listen, like,
I'm just saying it might be.
Sneaking a cigarette.
What? No, people do that.
I know that people do. I know that people do that. I'm just saying, like Meredith, who's so poised and like.
I picture her
projects this this image of herself as I don't want to say perfect, but you know
what I picture her smoking the cigarette like sad Ben Affleck, and like that that picture of him like standing outside in sweatpants just smoking the cigarette like life has fucking got me, man. That's Meredith outside.
Meredith is like accused Jen of videotaping her smoking.
That's weird too. Yeah.
That was a weird accusation. Like I don't necessarily maybe Jen did videotape her because she thought it was funny. You know what I mean? Like if they're like both.
But she's
drunk.
insinuating that like Jen is holding it over her. Like I'm gonna send it to people or whatever. That would be upset if they knew you were smoking a cigarette.
Yeah, whatever.
So that's kind of weird on Jen's part for sure.
Yeah, if that's the case.
If that's true.
I don't know.
And that's a weird thing to make up, I feel.
I guess. I don't know. I don't necessarily like. Meredith has been so sneaky about her marriage and certain things, and there's something about her
that's very
true. I don't fully trust her.
That's very true.
I just don't fully trust her. She has not been transparent on the show.
I definitely think she's out for her and her alone. She's got probably the biggest, most.
And then the whole sleepover thing that like. She, Jen's,
I wrote down how
Jen
high school.
says that Meredith invited her to sleep over, and Meredith says no, she passed out on the bed, and Jen says no, bitch, that was you that passed out on the bed. So I think it was probably a drunken night for both of them.
Yes, and if they were still friends, they would just be laughing about it. But since they're not, they're both trying to make each other look like the assholes. Yeah. But I wrote down that they look like a bunch of high school kids. No, you asked me to sleep over, and I said no. No, it was you. Yeah, they look like a couple of idiots in that one for sure. So, and then the next thing, I don't know what the question was, I forget, but Andy asked a question about Jen, and all of a sudden it turns into Lisa and Mare fighting.
Oh, yeah, well, the question was, do the other women, now that they know some of Jen's issues, like, do they sympathize with Jen? And they start to say, like, they always sympathized with her, but it doesn't excuse her behavior. Then Mare jumps in. I don't remember. Oh, Mare jumped in and basically said, like, everybody runs to Jen's defense and something along the lines
and
of
nobody helps me.
Yeah. And Lisa was like, Mare, no.
Yeah.
I was very, very kind to the both of you. And that was a snarky remark.
Yeah. And then while they were fighting, one of my favorite lines of the whole episode was Lisa was yelling at Mare, like, if you only knew how kind I was to you.
Yeah.
If anybody would know, it's her.
It's her.
And she's saying you're not.
Yeah.
Like, it's so dumb. Why would you even retort that? Oh, guys. Yeah. So, and then Lisa starts crying about how much she loves her kids.
Yes.
And then she ends the soliloquy to her kids by saying that she loves them because of how much they
love her and are
and look
proud
up to
of
her.
Mary. I fucking love Lisa Barlow.
So
she
fucking
is
full
my
of herself.
new
It is absolutely
favorite
amazing.
queen. I love it. There's something so... Maybe she is the cartoon version of what I would like to be.
Okay.
And what I envision myself to be.
I'm just going to close the door.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, Mary throws in and says that Lisa comes across as snobby with a stick up her butt. Okay, yes, probably. But again, like, and I've said, we talked about this before. I just feel like Lisa is a New Yorker, and they just don't fucking get it.
Yeah.
And I think that's why Meredith and Lisa are such good friends, is because Meredith is from Chicago.
Yeah, they're not from soft ass fucking Utah.
Yeah, like
They're both from real cities that you have to fucking scrap by and fucking elbow
city
your way through
personalities
room.
are a real fucking thing.
Yes. There's only so much room. Especially in a pandemic.
Yeah. Heather, let's see. Yeah, Lisa, again, like, Lisa talks about how much she likes herself. Heather says it's not and how much she likes herself and how she felt that she really went out of her way to be nice. And Heather was like, it's not some big accomplishment to be nice, to be like a nice person. Your colleagues are all saying the same thing, that you are not nice.
Yeah. That's how she is.
Yeah, and then Mary interjects saying that she agrees that
Business.
Lisa makes... Oh, this is what it was. Mary interjects and says that she agrees that Lisa makes people feel less than. And Lisa was like, Mary, you make people feel less than. And Mary was like, no, bitch. I do not. Give me an example. And Lisa immediately goes after her church.
Yeah, and I was kind of upset that it got shut down so quickly because I wanted that shit to roll for the rest of the episode. Because, yeah, we've talked about this several times throughout. Pretty much every time she would show up and flaunt her money, and they even opened the episode by asking, like, how many houses she has. And she's like, I know now, it's 8. No, I got the number down.
Yeah, I agree. I think her relationship... there's got to be something going on in her contract that they can... I don't know. I just feel like there's something going on in her contract where they can't really, like, touch on her church too deeply and ask questions about it. I don't know. It just feels like it's, like, right in front of your face. This woman hoards high fashion and luxury labels in her room. She hoards homes. And she
does it on the backs of fucking poor people. And
yeah, you gotta point it, like, hello.
I would imagine that they have churches all over. Like, it's obviously not just that one.
Yeah, I don't...
Because I would imagine, like, I'm just saying, like, if it's just that one and that's what they're doing, like...
Well, she also mentioned that her grandma had other... Business ventures
and such.
Yeah,
oh, okay.
So
That's interesting.
Money laundering. Money's got to go somewhere.
Yeah, that's interesting. Church is a good thing. It's all cash,
Yeah.
Maybe you get a check thrown in there once in a while, but yeah. Okay.
What else? Yeah, then Whitney brings the Xerox copies of Lisa text messages
pathetic.
over the bar. Bullshit. I don't know. I felt like Heather and Whitney were the mean girls of this episode.
I absolutely agree with you.
I really felt like they were the mean girls, or they were trying to stand up to what they thought Lisa was,
yes,
or what they envisioned her to be, and it kind of fell flat.
Yeah,
in my opinion, I just felt like they came off as mean, and I know that Lisa is not the nicest person, but I don't know. I don't know. I get her. Maybe it's just because...
You follow this stuff a lot more than I do on social media and whatnot. Was the reaction of that you've seen more that Heather and Whitney stood up for themselves? against the mean girl, or was the reaction?
No,
more...
that's my.
No, I know, but I'm just asking you.
You know,
like what you've seen. If you've seen anything while you've been perusing social media.
I guess in the past couple of weeks, I haven't really been on doing. I haven't.
It's been a lot
working our social media account that well, and really following. There's been a lot, going on.
No, I just meant even in your own personal, just like perusings of shit. Like, have you seen any feedback on this yet?
Not that I know of.
Okay, no, I'm just curious is all. I thought you might have got a whiff of like what the overall air is.
No, and I mean, I'd be interested to kind of look and see.
Well, maybe that's what we'll do tonight.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I just felt like, I don't know. I don't know what it is about Lisa that I like. I shouldn't say that it's not. I don't know. She's familiar to me.
No, I hear you. I do. And I agree with your assessment that I think Whitney and Heather came a little too hard this episode. That's one of the things that I took away from this episode also. But I just... Yeah, I don't know. They didn't have all the receipts were too fucking cloudy, they didn't really back up their stances.
Yeah.
They didn't really justify their vitriol. I feel that they kind of lashed out there with. I mean, at one point Lisa was crying, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. She got really emotional.
Yeah, and I don't think that wasn't. To be fair, though, now that I think about it, that wasn't Whitney and Heather's doing. That was Andy asking a question about her kids.
Yeah, no, but she also was crying, though, when, after she was talking about how Heather and Whitney made her out to be on the show. How what projected her.
Well, that's the thing. I don't think they made her out to be anything bad on the show.
Heather and Whitney?
No, like in the beginning, they all expressed their beef with her. Right? But then they all seem to get over it at that dinner, which is like in episode 2 or 3. So that's what I mean. Like, they weren't beefing this whole season at all. Yeah. Until, again, like at the end, where... And even at the end, they weren't even really beefing because Whitney fucking apologized to them at the racetrack and everybody was still kind of cool. Like, especially Heather. Like, none of them had beef. Like, they were at her fucking thing at Beauty Lab. Like,
true.
So, that's what I mean. Like, after... And thinking back on it now, it's more comments from each other's confessionals. I think that's just started all the shit from the beginning again.
Yeah.
It made it seem like all the beef squashing it. Like, they should have fucking had way more beef then through the season. Now I'm pissed. I want more beef.
Well.
Where's the beef?
There is going to be a second season. Mm-hmm. They're probably filming it right now.
Well, there's going to be another fucking reunion too. Another 2 of them. So
yeah.
We got another couple of recaps.
Recap and talk about. Do you want to?
What? I was going to say that's about it, though.
Yeah, that's all I got to.
Yeah, we'll tally all the points from all the reunions and talk about it at that final episode. Yeah. But yeah, that's about it. This is pretty wild.
Yeah.
Pretty wild. But yeah, this is Mike and Mare, and the website is don'twantowatchthat.com. You can find us anywhere podcasts are. And if there's a place that you want to listen to a podcast and our shit's not there, you fucking let me know, and I will get it there. And,
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. That's all we got. All right, peace out, everybody. Next week is Jersey.
That's right.
Next week is Jersey.
Queen Trey.
Later.
Bye.